We've got Michael Miller and Gordon Wren on the line to start the show out. How are you, fellas?
Good. Very good, Jeff, and good morning, Rockland, on another snowy morning.
Yeah, we couldn't do without another snowy morning, could we?
Oh, I'm tired of it.
Also on the line, we have with us legislator Charles Fasiglia. He's joining the show as well. I'm sorry if I botched your name right there real quick, but thanks for joining us, legislator.
No, I'm used to people having trouble with my last name.
I apologize.
No problem.
Every
We
year
have
is good,
another person.
You said
Another person joining us too. Is Danielle Meehan?
Well, she's not on the line yet. She should be calling in. That might be her, but why don't you take it away, and I'll put her on the line for you, okay?
Okay.
Right, very good. The regular program that we do for Who Wants to Volunteer will continue next week with Chris Keir and Junior Commander, who may call in, but they did have a very busy week with emergencies this week, and particularly they had a major structure fire yesterday on Main Street in Muncie. Ironically, you have to listen to our leading commercial. So we'll probably talk about that in some detail next week. So tune in next Friday to get more details.
And Gordon,
So,
before I don't mean to interrupt you, Gordon, I just wanted to let you know that you have the other caller that you mentioned is going to be online. She's on the phone as well, so she is joining us right now. And you also have a caller from Ocean County. I don't know if you want to put her on yet, or if you want all of everybody on at the same time. That's up to you.
Well,
Tell the one from Ocean County just to hold on a few minutes.
All right, we'll do that.
the only problem would be if people want to call in, they probably won't be able to, Jeff. Right?
No, they will not. No, all the lines are full now.
Okay, so if you're trying to call in, you'll get a busy signal. But Charles,
Unless do you want Ocean County to call back at a different time?
I'll tell them to call back in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay.
five or 10 minutes. Yeah.
All right. Thanks. All right. So you guys continue.
With her.
Michael, do you want to introduce our guest, who's a regular and someone I have a tremendous amount of respect for?
Oh, yes. What we have today is Danielle Meehan and Charles Fasiglia. Both are on the Cupon Inc. board, and we wanted them to be on the program today to talk about things that's going on and give their perception of things and work with us on it. And every time we're on the program, we're going to ask different coupons, leaders of different coupons, to come on the show and to just get the experience of talking to people and explaining what's going on in their area and other areas as they grow in knowledge, and to express their support for Cupon. And as most of you know, Cupon is a multicultural organization, and we have 12 active chapters right now. And Cupon, any community that wants to start a Cupon can. And what all we ask them to do is that they have to adhere to the Cupon mission and code of conduct. And if they want to start a Cupon, we will help them so that they can learn how to contend with overdevelopment and illegal housing within their community. So it's not restricted to any communities or any people in particular. It's for all of the residents of Rockland County and beyond. As you might know, we have chapters in Orange County, and we have 2 in New Jersey, and we're growing. So with that, why don't I introduce Danielle and Charles and ask you to greet our listeners.
Good morning, everyone. This is Danielle Meehan.
Tell them where you're from, Danielle, what coupon you represent.
I am the leader of Cupon Airmont, and we are fairly young, but we are growing by leaps and bounds every day. And we're really lucky to have Charles Fasiglia as someone who supports us. He is a Rockland County legislator. And I'm going to turn it over to Charles briefly, if that's okay.
Sure. Good morning.
Charles represents the Airmont area, I believe.
Yeah, yes. I'm a second-term Rockland County legislator. I've been in Suffern 49 years, hope to make it to 50. And my district covers the villages of Suffern, Airmont, and Hilburn. And parts of unincorporated Ramapo. And I've always supported Cupon and have steadily been increasing my involvement over the last year. And mostly I assist with some behind-the-scenes research, which is really the lifeblood or necessary for any citizen action group. And I also try to act as an informal liaison to county government. I'm sure we've all experienced calling a government agency and they ask a simple question, and 5 calls and 3 conversations later, you're back to square one. And usually I can, expedite that by getting to the right person.
Okay. And, I just want to remind people again that Cupon is basically a non-political organization. We're not based on politics. Any politician, any profession can join Cupon, and we use their skills and knowledge that they have to further the Cupon mission, not to further their mission. So some of you that hear that Charles Fasiglia is a member of Cupon and thinking that he's taking forward Cupon's agenda to the county legislature, that's not the case. Okay, we treat everyone the same, and we ask that anybody or any profession to please join us. And again, what we do is for municipalities that are not acting in the best interest of a community when it comes to land use, we organize the citizens and help them to understand how to oppose that to get what's best for their community. Okay? So, Danielle or Charles, you want to talk about some of the problems that's going on in Fairmont? And again, you're closely associated with Mawa. So I know that some of the projects that's going on there that you're very concerned about is on the Rockland-Mawa border.
Yes, that's correct. Excuse me. Michael, we work, Cupon Airmont works very closely with Cupon Mawa and their leader, Heather Federico. There is unprecedented development going on in Airmont, and we are very strongly urging both the town of Ramapo and the village of Airmont to utilize their zoning laws as versus giving variances to allow overdevelopment and to change the character of the neighborhoods as well as overburden the local infrastructure. One thing which Charles does, and again, he doesn't give us any type of political influence, but sometimes when you're dealing with many layers of government, because in Rockland County, most areas are in either a village and a town. We have a county, and then we have state governments. Sometimes it's hard to know where to start and to figure out what area may have jurisdiction. So Charles is an invaluable source of information to assist us in going to the right place.
That's good. Go ahead, Charles.
Picking up on what you said, Michael, I think sometimes the public loses sight of the fact that just because I'm elected to office, I'm also a resident and a taxpayer, and that really comes first. I'm not in my 20s or 30s looking to make a career, a political career. So before, I've been a banker for 41 years. So, I'm so happy to assist. And Danielle's completely right. Sometimes, where do you go to get an answer? Who has jurisdiction? And so much of that is time consuming.
Yes, it is, and that's one of the things that we've learned with Cupon is that we need to, in order to get answers, we need to call on a variety of professionals and people with knowledge of all walks of life. including government and land use, architects, builders, doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs. Because the thing is that we focus on what is best for our communities and how can we our communities grow and thrive and be all inclusive in a manner that is consistent with the community's wants and needs. When things start going off in a different direction and people are concerned and not getting the correct answers from their government for land use items, then we are an alternative. We can help in that area. But again, I must stress, because I get a lot of calls from all over the place. Believe it or not, from Pennsylvania, from Westchester, from all over the place. People talking about Cupon and something they want to do, something is happening that they don't like. Well, I can sympathize with them, but our first step is to start a Cupon. Individuals need to, if they're strong enough and they're representing their community, then we can help them organize a Cupon and teach them how to resist things that's happening for land use that they don't like. But we can't take on individuals that something is happening in their community that they don't like and they're not affiliated, don't have a Cupon in their area.
In other words, they'll come to you saying they want help with something in their backyard, but they're not involved. So until it tends to be true with human nature, until it affects you, it's like, well, let somebody else worry about it. But Coupon is a way to fight back, and especially if you have even though we're not political, if you have elected officials that are not looking out in the best interests of all their constituents and businesses, this is a way to fight back and actually win. So a lot of people get frustrated and angry, but you can fight back and you can win.
And another aspect of this too is that accessible governments and governments that want to do the right thing, where we have a Coupon, they have contacted Coupon and they will ask, we're thinking about doing XYZ in our hamlet or in our town. What do you think about this? And so we meet with them and and take that back to their community and express it to them to see what Coupon's position would be on it. And, we can help them to do things that that will be acceptable to the community. Now,
we have to become allies with some of the, local governments versus, we're a thorn in the side in the town of Rampo, I'm sure. I'm sure that you're not happy with the organization. That probably the same is true for Airmont and many other communities.
Right. And another part of Coupon, especially in that we do, that's in our mission, is, but all Coupons don't have to do this and don't do it, is code enforcement. We look at what's going on in the community, when there's people are not adhering to, the residents themselves are not adhering to maintaining their properties and having trash and stuff around their properties and cars parking on lawns and stuff. We will gather that information and we report it to the towns. So that helps the code enforcers of the towns or the villages to know where these things are, where these problems are, so they can make the community, help beautify the community and make them more accessible and pleasant for people to see when they're passing through those communities.
And Michael, that's what the Legal Housing Task Force did quite a few years ago. We told the public, send your complaints to us, and we're going to track them. So we got them from all over Rockland County. We found in Clarkstown, and Orangetown and other communities, the violations were handled promptly, efficiently. The inspectors took appropriate action. The village or town attorneys, who were prosecutors in these cases, were fair but aggressive, and the judges levied appropriate fines. In Rampo and now Airmont, in Airmont, there's little or no enforcement. I would say no enforcement. And the same can be said about many of the other villages now, where this concept is spreading. We can just do whatever you want. As a result, people just move into one-family homes without permits, without site plan approval, without public hearings, which is part of our democratic process. And they just move in, and it enrages the surrounding and nearby residents who had to get a permit for the shed they put on.
Right.
So that's where people like Michael come in. Charles come in. They can. He has access to a lot of different agencies, and we know that the sewer systems in the county, and this is not just Rampo, and other areas of Rockland as well, have serious problems, and it doesn't make sense to add additional sewage with large projects when things are, up to capacity and then causing raw sewage discharges. So that's, we were having trouble getting information, and that's where Charles and he can help us up and get in and talk to folks and get information. We're working with people like Danielle, who I really admire, the energy and the ideas. So let's hear from Charles and Danielle as to some of the things that...
And before we hear from them, Gordon, I just wanted to remind you we do have your guest from Oceans County on the line as well. She's on hold right now, but we can go to her whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you.
You want to let her come on, and then we can go back to Danielle and Charles?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, she's on. Welcome to our guest from Ocean County.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, it's Michael Miller. Gordon,
Hi, Michael.
I don't know if you could hear the program, but it's Michael, Gordon, Danielle, and Charles.
Hi. Yes, I heard you and Gordon speaking and discussing what was going on up north. So
why don't you tell the audience who you are and where you're located and some of the issues that you're dealing with there?
Okay, so I am Eleanor. I am running the Cupon in Jackson, Manchester, which is in Ocean County, New Jersey. My town, Jackson, very, very large town, 100 square miles. Half of our town is considered pinelands. What's happening in Jackson is developers are coming in and looking at plots of land or purchasing them that are actually part of the Barnegat Bay watershed, the C1 waterways, and they're putting high-density housing, completely ignoring the environmental aspects, how it's going to affect all of our wells and our water supply. And when I say high-density housing, and it's a mixed-use high-density, we're looking at 1,100 units on watershed. So we did hire an attorney. Our attorney is hiring experts, an environmentalist, a planner. He did testify at the last planning board meeting. He did a very good job, with this one particular project. We do have another project close to where I live, where it's a residential piece of property who got a variance to sell flowers and trees and things like that. Now they're looking to turn that into a full-blown retail facility of over 50,000 square feet. So tucked in the middle of where a whole bunch of people live. And during COVID, it's very difficult to get an accurate traffic study because it's right by our high school and elementary school. The kids aren't driving to school. The buses aren't running normally. So they'll try to slide that in, which is not an accurate traffic study. We also, when you talked about code enforcement, what we're seeing more and more in Jackson Township are homes being purchased and never occupied and being used as something other than a home. And some of these are in very densely populated communities of hundreds of homes that were built in 1960. So no regard to the neighbors, no regard for the parking. There's no fire code. We have been involved with the zoning officer, the code officer. What we do see is steps might be taken, but unless we really push that issue and force them to write summonses, what we're seeing is our town is really not doing a whole lot. This has been something we have been watching, maybe 6 years now.
Eleanor, what happens when you file a complaint and the inspectors issue violations and appearance tickets, do they ever go to court? Are there trials? Are there substantial fines?
So what I'm going to tell you, I'll use one for example. They kind of just dropped the ball. They went, they looked at it, they gave them an order of summons, not a summons, a violation. Violation was unanswered. They did not file the summons until I went to our town council and threw it on the record and forced them to do it. I then had to do it again in December. Now, they just went to court, and the property owner who doesn't live in this town, so basically it's a community center that is 10 feet from the property line to the house next door. They're looking to negotiate. So they're looking to negotiate how to make it work. I will tell you that because Jackson Township, there is a complaint against Jackson Township from the Department of Justice by some groups. I think the town itself is a little concerned to have another lawsuit, but they're not protecting the rights of the residents.
So, in other words, a property owner can convert a building illegally, and then
it's happening all over town.
It sounds like your town has the same philosophy as they do in Rampo. They're just looking for compliance, which means so you move into a building illegally without having to go through all the process of hiring an engineer for site plan, et cetera, and building permits and inspections. You get your operation up and running, and then when the town catches you, based upon a complaint.
They ask for forgiveness, and the town bends over. So
that basically encourages people to do the same thing, and they lose control of their community, and that's what's happening in Airmont. Daniel, you've got almost no enforcement, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
So,
and we have, I'm sorry, Eleanor, go ahead.
I just want to explain what I'm seeing in New Jersey. It might be much different in New York. What's happening in New Jersey, I have contacted the DCA's office. I have contacted the Attorney General's office. Every single state agency is closed. No one returns your calls in the state. They say because of COVID, and I find this is being a convenience. I'm not comfortable with what I'm seeing with the breakdown of our structure of government right now during COVID. No one calls you back, and then they send you a form and say, oh, here, fill out the form. No, I want a phone call. And because it's starting at state level, the breakdown, when you call the county, well, there's nothing they can do. What's happening also in our town, heavy solicitation. And the heavy solicitation is being guised in a way to pull at your heartstrings, but also to instill fear. And I started doing research on that, and now I'm finding that these letters that are being sent to homeowners are actually, these people work for development corporations. So they're trying to turn over an entire town for a company.
Right. And so that's an orchestrated situation, and I know that you're faced with another situation there that I just found is totally unbelievable. Is how the protected lands in the wetlands there was somehow the federal protections of it was overruled to allow multifamily development, and they had to haul in all of this dirt to raise the property up above the 2 feet, 3 feet, and this is
10 feet.
Hundreds of acres. 10 feet.
10 feet. On a watershed, what I will tell you, Superior Court, Ocean County Superior Court judge, because there is an affordable housing element to that project, the township did vote no, and the judge stepped in because Fair Share Housing stepped in, brought it to the judge, and the judge overruled and gave a preliminary and final, he passed it. So he overrode the town.
Really? We get a final appeal on that, but of course money.
Yeah.
Also, have you gone to the state of New Jersey to seek assistance like we've been doing in New York?
What do you mean?
The state of New Jersey has some oversight over building and fire codes and other
So
areas.
the state of New Jersey, they haven't started building the structures yet. So that fire code, are you talking about this project, or are you talking about...
No, I'm in general terms, the lack of enforcement.
Okay,
and,
yes, I did. Yes, I did. And the state of New Jersey told me that it is not their jurisdiction, that I need to go back to the building department. It's very clear. I'm getting the runaround.
Maybe Michael, talk to her off the air about this a little bit more.
Yes,
and then,
yes.
Getting back to Airmont, at least there's some enforcement in Ocean County. But and Airmont, Danielle and Charles, are you seeing any enforcement?
Well, let me just say that before answer that question. Let me just say that that's one of the reasons that what Cupon what we do is that when we going to the community disagree with these projects that they believe is not consistent in their neighborhood, the end of that is that we have no alternative but to go take it to the courts. And more times than not, well, especially in New York, we haven't lost one yet. So it's unfortunate that the resident has to go to the courts to seek relief from something that their elected officials is allowing to happening or ignoring. So I'm sorry I had to do that little promo there. Go ahead, Charles and Danielle. What are you seeing?
Michael, you're completely right, and that's the frustrating part. We have obviously we have a rogue government in Ramapo. We have to go to court over things. The county legislature really has no authority to enact any laws. And, picking up on what you said to the last caller, going to the state, we have been, right? And they're the only ones that could change the laws and try to elicit some enforcement. The home rule, to me, has always been a problem, and it needs to be looked at because it gives ultimate authority to, in Ramapo, it gives ultimate authority really to 5 people. 5 people are controlling 130,000 residents. So everything is broken up and down the line. And, before when you mentioned about the sewer district and so on, government never says we can't develop. We just cannot do any more developing for a while. We don't have the infrastructure in place. The response is we'll build another sewer plant. Well, I don't want to pay to build another sewer plant. When we're building on every square inch upwards, high density housing, when we shouldn't be, when there's no check and balance or even thought process about what we're doing.
Yeah, generally in well-planned communities, they address the infrastructure before they allow the development to take place. In Ramapo and Spring Valley and other communities now, I think New Hampshire is going through a new master plan to allow much greater density. There's very little consideration given to storm drainage, and then you have a major flood in a major storm like Sandy or Irene or Floyd, and people are really, the property is devastated from flooding, and the sewers are backing up all over the place, which is happening now, and traffic and lack of sidewalks, and then they expect the taxpayers to do all this when the builders get their money and take off and they're gone.
Right, and it excused Eleanor. She had to leave, and we thank her for attending our meeting this morning and participating in this radio program. But Gordon, you're absolutely right. What is happening is, and I'm going back to our 2004 current comprehensive plan in Ramapo. Within that plan, which I was on the committee, I don't remember us addressing the the infrastructure at all, other than traffic. The sewer and water and stuff was not, I don't believe, was addressed, not in any comprehensive manner. It was just assumed that the sewer and water could support the development or the zoning, the new zoning that the 2004 plan had put together, which is a problem. And since then, what is happening is that as all of these projects and things are being developed all over the place, it's being done piecemeal. And so it's still not being addressed, even with these communities that they want to build, where the basic infrastructure is using an infrastructure that would support a community, let's say, with, as an example, one house per acre. Now we want to put multiple houses per acre.
24 on an acre.
Yeah.
Think about it. And Michael, I just want to emphasize, that's a really good point. So you have to say, maybe you have one house on an acre, and it's got 2.5 baths for 4 or 5 people. They're being replaced with 24 units, and these are big houses, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms with multiple bathrooms. And as Mike Saber pointed out, one of the engineers for the sewer district that Charles and I have been working with, a lot of these developments were put in years ago with 8-inch mains, which can handle, on average, 200 typical, average size one-family homes. Now they're being replaced with these really apartment houses, and there's no way in the world an 8-inch main can handle that. Or maybe it can handle it on a dry, sunny day, but when you get rain and stormwater getting in, then you have raw sewage pouring out into the community. So, people, you're right. People, they don't think about this, and they should.
Hey, Gordon,
And
we had a caller.
Gordon,
I'm sorry, Michael, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we had a caller who didn't want to go on the air, but she had a question. Is it possible that you could, if you're talking about filing lawsuits against different projects and such, is it possible to go after the individual builders rather than the town or other municipality, so that you save? I mean, if you go, her point was is that if you go against the town or some other municipality, you're still going to cost the taxpayers money in the long run.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, that's a good point. It's like the East Ramapo School District lawsuit, but we go after both because that's what our attorneys say is the right way to do it. And you have to go to the responsible party, which is usually the town board and the planning board and ZBA.
see, there's no free ride for the residents either way you go. But when you file an Article 78 lawsuit, you file it against the builder owner and against the municipality that has allowed that to happen. So both has to answer it. Will be party to the lawsuit. Some municipalities, if they know that something is happening that they just can't control, that's out of their control, they have said, we're not going to contest this at all. We'll leave it up to the courts to decide what's right and what's wrong. So they invest nothing into the lawsuit, and whatever the courts decide, they accept. So in that instance, if they're neutral and believe that the courts have their best interest of deciding what the laws are, then it costs the residents nothing. But if they're strong in supporting, if they want to support the various boards and developers over the citizens' requests, then they will fight vigorously and spend the residents' money to defend the lawsuit. And we have 2 of those going on today.
Michael, could I add something which is kind of in the same theme that Eleanor was talking about? I've heard from many Earmont residents that there's they often have the feeling that they are not, some individuals are not as valued as others in the community. And I have to say one thing Cupon stresses is that every individual in a community is important and valued as much as everyone else. But unfortunately, it seems that feeling that not everybody is as valuable has spread to other agencies within the town of Ramapo, and people are very frustrated by it.
Well, yeah, and I can understand that, and that's why, as being the founder of Cupon and being an African American from the Deep South, I will not tolerate any that type of behavior within any coupon organization. And when it moves up to the government, on the government level, where people are being abused and taken advantage of in certain communities, when they form a coupon, we can respond to that vigorously with land use. Okay, but and that's true. There's in some communities they have been minimized by members of another community that wish to exhibit control over land use within a community. And if the community is organized like Hillcrest, we don't allow that. We fight it vigorously. We attend the planning boards, the zoning boards, the town meetings, and we will oppose when those types of things come up that we view as something that's being oppressive and not consistent with the community in Hillcrest and in the other communities of Cupon. For instance, I'll give you an example. There was in Nyack, in central Nyack, they wanted to build a low-income housing project, and there was several available spaces and alternatives to where they could put it in Nyack and the surrounding areas. Well, the builder wanted to put it into central Nyack, which is a predominantly minority community, people of color community, that has migrated from the Nyaks over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now they wanted to build a low-income housing project that on land that, as an example, 50 apartment units in property with less than 10 parking spaces. They didn't have the land for other parking spaces. And you looked at that and you said, they would never put that in West Nyack or Upper Nyack or Nyack itself. So they wanted to put it into this minority community in unincorporated Clarkstown. So we Coupon Inc. got involved in that. We went down and we addressed the town board. And I personally told them that if you do this, we're going to sue you. And they realized that they couldn't do this. And this didn't originate from the town of Nyack. It originated from a developer that legitimately needed to find homes for handicapped and homeless people, but they were putting it in the wrong spot. And this was sponsored by the county. So as a result of that, the town board rejected the application.
So rather than get involved in litigation that they may, there's a good chance they wouldn't win, they're finding another place for this needed housing, which is what it's all about. Hey, by the way, as representing the residents in Hillcrest, you mentioned 2 weeks ago that you and your wife had driven to Muncie, heading over towards Suffern, on the last major snowstorm. I think was February 1st. So that Friday, you went to Muncie. You were commenting how great the town did on clearing all the sidewalks in the Muncie area.
Yes.
But then by that following Friday, which should be a week and a half into the storm, you mentioned that sidewalks in Hillcrest still hadn't been done, and they weren't done until this week, till a couple of days ago.
Right.
So that really doesn't seem right. Because I know going through that area after the snowstorm, especially at night, people were forced to walk on busy State Route 45. And it does seem to be a double standard. Why would the sidewalks in Hillcrest not be done for over a week and a half after a major storm, or 2.5 weeks after a major storm?
Hey, Gordon, Michael, we have a... I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have a caller who has a question and a comment, if you don't mind. His name is John, calling from Airmont. Hi, John. You're on with
Sure.
Who Wants to Be a Volunteer with a special show, Michael Miller of Coupon. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I had one question that's general, but more specifically for an actual address in Airmont, okay? And it's at 1 Regina Road. The driveway is less than 20 feet from Saddle River Road, which is a county road, right? And shortly after the election in the election in 2019, this property, which is zoned for single family, began an illegal transformation, irreparable illegal transformation. It was a wooded lot. And this started to happen And in May, at the end of May, I informed the mayor, this Nathan Bubel, May 29th actually, of this problem. And between then and August 11th, August 12th, transformation continued. Trees, beautiful old growth trees were removed. Heavy equipment was brought in. Stumps were removed. And now the yard was then graded, turned into a parking lot, which is illegal. There's no parking in yards or setbacks. Not only that, because of its proximity to a county road, that particular project never would have passed muster, all right, in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so then,
Okay, John.
wait, then it only gets better. So then
Hey, John, you're going to have to make your point because we're running out of time. We're coming up to the top of the show.
All right. So this was in August of 2019. I then informed all of anyone and everyone, including Constance Frazier. Everyone knows about it, including county executive. And then the other thing I have to ask about is how come we cannot get a Fair Housing Act review of the housing on the Route 59 corridor between Main Street and Muncie and Route 59 and the Bates Drive project, where each and every unit went to one demographic and one demographic only. That is illegal under the Fair Housing Act. So how come we can't get a formal review done and put the purpose, and decide, and then we can get maybe a little justice? Why is this so difficult? All right, I'll hang up and I'll, listen.
I have a question, but before you hang up, what did the village do when you filed complaints against one Regina?
So did you file complaints?
Yes, absolutely. I do not think that anything has been done because these people advertise freely on the internet.
Oh, John,
Yeah.
you filed complaints. Did you go and you get the information to understand that did they receive permits to do this? And did you file?
I have waited. I will tell you this right now that location has never been past the community design review committee because I've been waiting. I've been waiting to go and complain in planning board and zoning board, but it's never even been past that.
All right, John, let me ask Danielle before you hang up. Danielle, what's your experience with this property? I think you're aware of it.
Excuse me?
Yes, I am. And John has every right to be outraged about it. What he didn't mention is there's also an unregistered school operating out of that property as well. He and John has been in touch with the mayor, Mayor Bubel, numerous times, and always copies me on the emails. And Mayor Bubel doesn't always answer, but he has answered a few of John's emails. I do know it is still in CDR, the Community Design Committee, for at least 3 years. It has never left. And I do believe it is also pending litigation as well. And
the village could have issued a stop work order as soon as they started seeing work done without a permit, without all the necessary approvals.
You are absolutely correct.
Issue a stop work order and then enforce it. So it's not complicated.
And
Nothing
if
is
they
going
won't do that, then your alternative is you should consult a lawyer and have them to issue a stop work order and sue them. And as a result of that, if you do that and if you have a good lawyer, they can, if you win and they can do the right thing, you can recover the monies that you've invested in.
And honestly, the people who live across the street they're just frightened that this has been going on. They don't I know they're not the ones that, complaining. And they've just been, Because they can't believe what's been going on. I see that. I see we're up against it too. But I want to listen.
Well,
thank you for
John,
taking.
I always tell people this: is that you know there are laws. We have millions and millions of laws in this country, and those laws are broken every day. They're broken by citizens, residents. They're broken by the people that actually make the laws. So one of the things we have to do is take them into the judicial system and have the courts to rectify the situation. Unfortunately, for residents, that's difficult to do, but that's the only alternative.
And it costs money. So that's where Cupon.
How about that Fair Housing Act stuff? Because you can't tell me that they're not going to find impropriety if you did a Fair Housing Act review of all of those units in the Route 59 corridor. How come?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, but who's going to do the Fair Housing Act review?
Right, well, how about this? You know, Tish James was happy to jump in up in Chester, all right? She wanted to make sure that nobody was being anti-Semitic, you know. That's not the only place where the Fair Housing Act review is, you know, where it could be invoked. I mean, I don't understand why it doesn't happen, because if and when it does, there's going to be hell's bells ringing, because each and every one of those units went to one demographic only.
And John, thank you very much for your call. I'm sorry we got to wrap it up. We're at the top of the hour, and we appreciate your call and your effort. Mike, why don't you wrap it up?
Okay, we want to thank everybody that participated in this, and we especially want to thank WRCR for allowing us to have this program. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll have another program within the coming weeks. Thank you all.